Gotcha. Welcome in. It's gonna take me a minute to set up. Maybe more. Okay, let's see here. Lower. Try this. It's raining, it's pouring. We're live streaming in the house. Okay, setup time. Come on in, come on in. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hi, Jody. Good to see you. All right, let's see what's going on this channel. Channel about nothing. Show about nothing. Okay, this is. Hey, Dad, good to see you. Okay, this is really. Tilt this down a bit. Not that much. All right, this is pretty whacked out. Yeah, not bad. Not terrible. All right. Let me see. As usual, I've got a little bit of setup to do before we get into full swing here. So just bear with me. And we can get this show about nothing on the road. Tell you about my new favorite hobby I discovered I have. A new favorite pastime. Okay, let's refresh this. How are you guys liking the vertical streaming? Better than horizontal? I'm just sticking with this for now. Yes, this is going to be on the auction chopping block, I believe, on September 20th, next month. Gonna get this place cleaned out. This is a nice dining room set I had purchased. Got a really good deal on it, and I ended up refinishing the top on the table. Let's see if I can show you the tabletop all matches. The fly swatter. It's wonderful inlaid wood carvings. So there's a massive china cabinet. Okay, you guys are crooked. Okay, what are we doing here? So I had to refinish the tabletop. I'm gonna put one more coat of darker stain on it before we ship it. But it's massive. So I been mentioning in some previous live streams, I was doing some garage sales the last couple of weekends. It's a great Canadian pastime, is having and going to garage sales. And so basically I was telling people this is an open, hey Red, welcome in. Jack Black. Okay, hold that thought. I have some furniture left in the house. The house is mostly cleaned out, but there's a few pieces left. So I was, rather than move them outside or downstairs, I just said, if you want to see more furniture and furnishings, I'll walk you through the house. And as soon as they walk through the door, they see this dining room set, and everybody's oohing and awing over it. So one person sounded serious to buy the china cabinet. I told them they could have it for $200 because I do have the option. I could get the table and chairs sold on consignment in Winnipeg. Okay, so that all looks good. But yeah, this comes with an extra leaf, 6 chairs, like 2 captain's chairs. You know, this fancy chairs, all the carvings and all this inlaid stuff. It's a crazy beautiful set. And I bought it because I've got this lodge style house. It was a custom build by the original owner. And it's got these huge, it's like a A-frame ceiling almost. Massive ceiling. Like, it's such an impractical house. I like it, but it's weird. Hard to heat, but it's like this massive space. So I wanted a big dining room set, but what I didn't realize, I've got a lot of air space, but not a ton of floor space in my dining room area here. So this beautiful dining room set is actually too big for the space. So I kind of had it in storage, stowed away up in one of the spare bedrooms, and I was refinishing it. I moved it down here because it's going to be going out the door pretty soon. And but yeah, people love this thing. Okay, so let's get the Zoom going here so I can see the chat. Zoom in. More. Like 200%. Yeah, there we go. 250. Yeah. I can see what's happening. Good. Love it. Riyadh from Belgium. Nice. Keep doing what you love. Vanessa, welcome in. So yeah, I got some music to show you. I'll just tell you about this turntable I found yesterday. Clash with Babble. Yo, got you 3.9 tokens. Brother. All right, I got a little something for you too. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, we'll have to talk about them Badger tokens. This staking scam that you were talking about a few weeks ago. Where you been hiding? I had some Vietnamese yesterday. Vietnamese subs. Delicious. Well, thank you for your escrow services and your centralized ledger management. My hat's off. Well, if I was wearing a hat. Banh mi. Yeah, so, I don't know. It was charbroiled beef, like barbecue beef on a bun with soup and spring rolls. Fantastic. Okay, so just to let everybody know, I've OD'd on coffee at least once today, but I got a fresh cup, so may as well get a mega tweak caffeine stream going. And so where should we begin? Oh yeah, I discovered my new favorite pastime. So clearing the place out. There's this old piano the last owner left behind, because I bought this place on a rent to own, and she kind of we let her leave a lot of stuff behind, so she didn't have to clean the place out. We were living in here while she was still. It was a weird arrangement. She was renting a room off us while we had our agreement going. Yeah, you got to have big guns to lift a cup like that. I do it with my left hand. And she had her grandmother's piano, and her grandmother has since moved on to a better place, and previous owner, like, she just kind of abandoned it, and she's not even in the country. I'm not even sure she's on the planet anymore. And so the new owners came to visit the place a week ago, and their kids were like, "Oh, look at that cool piano." I'm like, "Yes, maybe I can leave it behind." But anyways, that piano started off in my garage, and I probably moved it 20 times in my garage. And then I got fed up. I needed the room to do stuff. And so I got it onto my deck, and it's been sitting there out in the rain and the snow for probably 2 years. And it's just kind of falling apart. But I was doing clearing up all my scrap metal. And so my scrap metal guy came today to haul away the second load. So that's all done. But I asked him, is there any scrap value in the soundboard of this piano? He's like, "Oh yeah, that thing's worth like," or it's not worth, but it's like 300 or 400 pounds of cast iron there. So it's worth it. So through the weekend in my spare time, I was dismantling and demolishing this piano. And right now, so he hauled the soundboard away and lifted it up with a tractor, threw it on his trailer. And I've been burning all the wood from that piano. So I was sledgehammering this thing apart with crowbar. Oh, it was so much fun. If you can find an old piano to demolish, I thoroughly encourage you to pick up a good 5-pound sledge, a nice long crowbar, and just hammer that thing to bits. And I'll tell you, that wood, it burns like gasoline. I mean, it's so old and so dry. But yeah, I was surprised at how much pleasure I got out of seeing that thing go, and now seeing it go up in smoke. So, but it is raining right now, so we're inside. I didn't want to take a chance of getting my precious vinyl wet. And it's kind of raining off and on, so it might be a little noisy out there, but probably go for a smoke break after a bit. But anyways, what do you want to see first? I think in the thumbnail, we'll do the CDs. We already saw this one, but I found it on CD. And shout out to Into the Music in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So they had Killer on CD. They had 3 copies. They had a new copy and 2 used ones. So I bought a used one for $6. And so I was listening to that on the drive home. And then I got you propped up here, so we're gonna take your CD stand. I got this one. I told them you guys made my day. So school's out, Old Alice. I was listening to this one on the way home as well. Just vibing out. I was so happy when I saw this. And I think this was $5. And then I kind of splurged. I just treated myself. This is a new reissue, but I found Black Sabbath Master of Reality on CD. So this was $15. So that was a little more than I usually spend on CDs, but you know, I don't need this one on vinyl. I'll listen to it more on CD because I listen to music when I'm driving. I never used to. I used to just drive in dead silence, but now that I've gotten back into collecting music, I'm looking for music that I can roll on down the road to. So I left Winnipeg totally overjoyed with just those 3 made it good enough. And then, on, I got more from them. So that was Into the Music in downtown Winnipeg. So I walked in there, and the shop owner, I haven't been in there for probably 20 years. And really nice place if you're ever in Winnipeg. Yeah, I love sitting around a fire too, but not in the rain. This is more of a business fire. It's getting rid of the trash. So he says, anything in particular you're looking for? I says, as a matter of fact, if you got any Graham Parsons, I'll gladly have a look at it. He's like, I just don't know where to find it. And because Graham Parsons, I don't know if you find it in classic rock or country or what. So he didn't have any in the country section, but he said, you know what? There was a Flying Burrito Brothers that came in this week. So I don't have any in the bins. I haven't had time to listen. Let's see. Have I listened to any vinyl? I listened to some last night when I got home, because the record player I had was pretty nasty. Like it was playing way too fast. And the one I have now, it's got pitch control, and it was dialed in by the audiophile hobbyist that I bought it from. So I haven't gotten to that Zappa, but so I'm looking through the music. I told him, what I was looking for, and I said, I'll go see if I can find that Flying Burrito Brothers. But anyways, a couple of minutes later, he comes back to me and says, here, this is the one I was talking about. So close up the honky tonks. It's like the greatest hits through the Graham Parsons era of the burritos, 1968 to 72. And so I listened to this last night on the new record machine, and amazing, superb condition. And this was $15, and it's a double album. So I was tickled over that one. And then I looked in the Zappa bin just to see what was there. There wasn't anything I was particularly looking for, but then I found something I wasn't really looking for, but Mother Mania. So this is like the greatest hits of the Mothers of Invention era. So this is just a single album, but this one was a little more. This was $27.50. So that's maybe a little more than I typically want to spend on vinyl, but I figured, when am I going to come across this again? And so getting my feet wet into Frank Zappa, I figured this will be a good place to start with the Mothers of Invention stuff. So, I know where to find more, but I just didn't haven't wanted to spend a lot of money on Zappa and just start experimenting. So as far as that, they kind of demand a premium. They're just marked up because, and again, very good condition, like amazing condition. So then I did a bunch of running around, and then I picked up this vinyl record player on the way home, turntable, and it is a PS-T1 Sony turntable. Just nice precision turntable. And the guy had me a little bit worked up because I was dealing through Marketplace, and Marketplace kind of drive me crazy. So I'm not going to go into the whole old man rant here, but trying to communicate. And I usually tell people, like, I don't live in Winnipeg. I'm coming from out of town. Like, I'm not just bombing around town for kicks. Like, I go into town to run errands or take care of business, and I'm not just hanging out. And so I'm trying to communicate with the guy on Marketplace, and he wasn't responding to me. And at a certain point, I'm like, what's your address? Like, he wouldn't tell me his address. Like, I could be there right now if you had told me your address 2 messages ago. He's like, I'm going out for a walk. I'll be back in 25 minutes. I don't care about your walk. Where do you live? And at a certain point, it's like, I'm here. Where are you? Where can I find you? And he wasn't getting back to me. So time's going by. I'm like, okay, I'm heading home. And then suddenly I get the message, wait. And then he gave me his address. So it was like 5 minutes away. And he demonstrated the turntable. Sounded wonderful. And then he's like, oh, well, are you looking for any vinyl? So I've got some vinyl you can look through. So we were looking through. He had a bunch of pretty obscure titles, but I'm like, oh, let's see what we can find. So he had 38 Special. Yeah, it's like, I'll listen to that. That's Southern rock. This one you've seen on the thumbnail. Flash Gordon soundtrack by Queen. There's all kinds of album art on the cover. I'm not going to pull all these out. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this music. So I need a smoke already. So. Then the Police, Synchronicity. They're all in very decent shape. I'm not a huge Police fan, but that's something I grew up to, I can listen to. And then he has Chicago, what is this, Chicago 3? Chicago 3, a double album. Again, not too familiar with Chicago, but it's one of those bands I want to kind of expand my musical horizons and taste with. And then Chicago's Greatest Hits. And then he said, like, just offer me a price and we'll take it. So there was, what, 7 or 8 albums there. I said, $40. You know, I didn't want to insult him. And he's like, well, look through these soundtracks. He was trying to push these soundtracks. I'm like, I don't care for soundtracks. He's like, well, just take one. I was going to give one to you anyway. So he probably paid $1 for each of these. Like, he's one of those guys that buys 500 albums at a time. You know, an old... somebody's old collection. So I probably overpaid by a lot here, but we were going through his soundtracks and this one stood out. And it's not the music on here, but the movie back in the day, The Breakfast Club. So I figured, this one's gonna have some cheesy tunes on it. Like, throw that one in, I'll take that. And then he offered to give me a vinyl cleaner kit. But he couldn't find it, so next time I'm in town, I'll pick that up. And as well, actually on the way in, I picked up this groovy unit. So this Sanyo something or other. And it's got double cassette, turntable, and equalizer, tuner. So I figure, you know what? $20, I'll give it a try. Like, it works. I just don't know if I could record from the record player to the cassette. So it's not a quality setup, but if I end up doing the RV life or van life, this will do in a pinch. I can listen to my cassettes and whatnot. So yeah, horn section for Chicago. And so yeah, that was my music haul for the day. And yeah, that Sony turntable was $200. That's about what I was wanting to spend. Someone else had a very similar turntable and they wanted $240. So I said, would you take $200? And they're like, nope, the price is firm. It's like, okay, not interested. It's not that I needed a deal, but sort of, you know what, just when somebody offers you, I didn't offer him $100. I said, take 200 and we got a deal. Because I hate the low ballers. You know, if you're not willing to do a bargain, I mean, and it's kind of one of those folks. You imagine the husband's passed away and the widow is selling his old stuff. But maybe not, but it's kind of yeah, you'll maybe get a buyer for $240. Maybe not. But yeah, in the garage sale, you know, I had stuff priced and people were like, will you take this one? Yes, just get it out of my place. If I don't have to touch it again, it's worth it. you getting a discount. So just take it. Get it out of here. So that was that. So that was a lot of fun. The garage sale was fun. Like all the neighbors, like I've been in the area 7 years, but we never had any kids. So we didn't have kids going to school and playing on sports teams. So I'm not connected to the townspeople here. Like we didn't go to church. We weren't part of any clubs. We had our circle of friends, but I don't know any of the townspeople. Like we didn't go dine in to the restaurants a whole lot to get to know people. So suddenly all the neighbors start showing up. Hey, oh, you sold the house? You're moving? Like, where are you going? And so meeting all the people that I should have met over the last 7 years, even people at the end of the road, like not even a mile away. So it was interesting. It was fun couple of weekends. But yeah, moving on to the next thing, whatever that is. So where do we want to go? I think it's time for a smoke break. So I think I showed you all the indoor stuff, the music. Any questions about the music? There will be a quiz at the end. It's an open book test. You can look at your neighbor's test as well. So it's all good. Yeah, what are we doing? I'm just going to grab you. How much battery power? Oh yeah, we got lots of battery power. Okay, I'm going to need my coffee. I think stick a Dr. Pepper in my sweat. What do you call these? A kangaroo? We call them a hoodie here. It's got the little kangaroo pockets. Okay, I'll unplug you. So, go for a little walk. Should I go for a walk? Noisy out there. I'm gonna take this too. Yeah. Just in case I want to type something in the chat, but I don't know if I will. Yeah, big fat piggy dog lying across the door. Hey, you ready to be on YouTube, piggy dog? All right, let's get this set up. The rain's kind of stopped for now. But yeah, what a strange August. You know, we've had probably 5 inches of rain. That is not normal at all. Is that too much glare, or are we good there? Is that nasty, or is that okay? Is there a way we can... I'll take a shot down the driveway. It's very bright though, eh? Can you guys live with that? I haven't even cleaned up after the garage sale, so still all around me here. All right, who wants to smoke a cigarette? So I've got arrangements to go get that Massey Ferguson hauled to the auctioneer. I just got to get it running. I was going to work on that today. Maybe we'll do a live stream. Actually, that's not a good idea. Reassembling it. There's probably going to be cursing and throwing tools when I go to do that. Like I said on those last streams, I had kind of set up the live stream so that it looked like I knew what I was doing, but I had done all the prep work ahead of time. So. And then I've got a trailer that is potentially going to be borrowed, lent to me. So that's gonna help. If I could just get the rest of my stuff in 2 trailer loads and a couple of pickup truck loads, I think I'll be doing good. As well, just a remark, last week I was doing shorts before my live streams, and it seemed to make a difference. There was a bunch of people that ended up tuning in. Like the viewership kind of went kind of surprisingly in the positive direction. So it didn't really translate into subscriptions or anything. It's just a bunch of views. Didn't translate like into comments or anything like that. Welcome in, Mr. Osgood. Good to see you. You just missed the vinyl and CD reveal, the latest music haul. So feel free to go back, either watch the replay or start from the beginning. What are we in? 31. I've been yakking for half an hour already. Start at the beginning, watch it 2 times speed to catch up. We're not going to spend a ton of time here. I still have to feed the animals. But yeah, so that was the music portion. We'll start the Incoherent Babble show about nothing section of the live stream. So longtime viewers of this channel may recall me mentioning synchronicities and certain other kind of phenomenon that sort of don't have a good explanation as to what's going on. Speaking of good explanations of weird things, what's the matter with you? He's got his notifications turned off, doesn't he? But the other day, I went for breakfast in town at the local Greasy Spoon Diner, and fantastic breakfast. Shout out to Red Wing Diner. And sat down at, I don't have a usual table, but I found that having breakfast in town is easier for me than making a mess in my house and cleaning up, especially when I was doing the garage sale. I just didn't have time to make the bacon and eggs and the full breakfast. So I just go into town. It's nice and cheap. Get the half breakfast. You'd be in and out in 15 minutes if you hit them at the right time of day. If you go at busy time, then you're waiting half an hour just to get the kitchen to look at your order. But in any case, I'm sitting waiting for my meal, sipping on my coffee. It was probably my 5th coffee of the day by the time I got there. I'll just read Dad's comment. Got 8 CDs, a couple of puzzles at the Salvation Army for $13. Nice. I'll be waiting to see your vinyl haul live stream on your channel. And the puzzle reveal. Are you going to finish the puzzles? Actually, you could do a live stream doing the puzzle. Has anybody done that on YouTube? That could be a whole new genre, just doing puzzles. That'll probably be where the direction this channel takes. Just buying puzzles at thrift stores and doing them live for you guys. That should be captivating viewing, right? But anyways, I'm sitting there waiting for my food to come, and these 2 old guys that are in there every day, 7 days a week, just having their coffee. And one guy's looking at me, and he finally gets up, comes over, and is like, "Did you have that business over in town there?" And I'm like, "No, it was me." And sort of like, "No, you were doing construction or something, weren't you?" I'm like, "Well, I drove for this gravel company. It's called something construction." But okay, because you look just like Simon or whoever he said, but I don't know. And I'm like, no, wasn't me. I've just been farting around on this farm here, doing a lot of nothing. So I didn't have no construction business in town. Like, oh, okay. Well, and so we got to talking, chatted for 5 minutes. But that incident, it's almost getting tiring. I don't know how many times in my life people are like, hey, you're that guy. And I'm like, no, it wasn't me. And so I must have probably no less than 500 doppelgangers on this earth at any given time. I remember 25 years ago driving in America, and I was at the TA truck stop in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. Sat down, and that was one of my regular stops, because from our terminal here in Winnipeg, by the time I got to Madison, it was time to shut down for the night. So I would usually just stop, have a late dinner there. And this guy I'm sitting at the counter, and he's eyeing me up. And I couldn't tell if he was friendly or not, but he's just kind of staring me down. Younger guy, he was about the same age I was back then, which was young. And he's like, you're Jeff, right? And I'm like, no. It's like, come on, like, you went to high school with my brother. I'm like, no, I can assure you I did not. Come on, like, and it was like somewhere in Alabama or Mississippi or Arkansas. It was like somewhere in the deep South. It was like, I'm not even from this country, so I don't know if Jeff owes you money or did you wrong. But he's like, and he's just looking at me like, it's like, no, like you're that guy. I'm like, I promise you I am not. And that's just the one example, from my history where someone thought I was someone else, and they were virtually convinced. Like, I had to convince them I wasn't that person. So what is that? Like, have you guys experienced that? Are you guys lookalikes? Do you have doppelgangers? Because it's happened to me all over the place. So I don't know if Bao's still here, but I mean, he doesn't look like anybody I've ever seen. I mean, there's that joke, all Asians look alike, or all black people look alike. But there's people I see, it's like, you don't look like anybody from here. Well, actually, okay, another doppelganger showed up in my garage sale. And these shitty smokes keep going out. I have many times, Jeff. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know if it's like whether I'm clean shaven or mustache, long hair, short hair. People are like, you are this guy. And I'm like, no. But at my garage sale, someone showed up who looked like my cousin, female cousin. She's around my age. And I've seen other lookalike, and I know it's not her. It's not her. But I've seen other people, it's like, you could be her twin. You're that similar in feature. And my cousin's background is part English, British, part Ukrainian ancestry. So there's whatever distinctive features, but I'm looking at this girl's like, man, you could be her twin sister. And I've seen other people in other settings. And then my cousin's sister, my other cousin, I've seen people that look like her as well. And so, like, what is it? Does God just have certain molds and templates that he likes in particular and just keeps cranking out the babies to look the same or something? Like, what is that? Like, does everybody experience that? It's just, it's not annoying, but it's like, what's going on there? La Rata in the house. Welcome, Justin. Who does Justin look like? He looks like Papa Smurf. Did anybody ever tell you look just like Papa Smurf, Justin? We were just going through this discussion of human doppelgangers, or maybe a secret clone program or something. Or maybe some kind of pod people, or I don't know what. Because I don't know if you've seen on YouTube, Freddie Prinze Jr. Okay. Papa Prinze Jr. Where you see like these historical photos that look like celebrities, where there's like Patrick Swayze, or I can't think of anything else. Brad Pitt. You know, these old timey 1800s photographs of these frontiersmen. I remember I used to watch Owen Benjamin, and he had some doppelganger lookalikes in not contemporary art, but you know, in Western art. You know, paintings that look just like him. I've seen memes where people go travel to Europe and they find themselves almost wearing the same clothing as some person depicted in some painting. And that's fascinating to me. Like, what's going on there? I don't need to know, but there's something going on there, right? Like, is this just incoherent babble, or like it'd be interesting to know. I don't need to know, but that kind of stuff just fascinates me. And so yeah, I guess the last synchronicity in recent times, it has to do with shooting stars. And so I had done my Alice Cooper retrospective or tribute, and shooting stars played a part in that video that's in the Music Mentality, and I think the Standing on the Shoulders of Giants playlist. But there were like 2 shooting stars within a short amount of time, and it's like they were significant. It's almost like the universe was giving you a little wink. It's like, I'm watching you, because I was able to connect meaning to the appearance of the shoot. Because the shooting star, I mean, they're common, but how many times are you up looking at the sky? Like, I mean, you can see it's overcast tonight. There's not going to be any stars visible tonight. But I was over at my buddy's cottage a few weeks ago, and I was staying in his travel camper. He's got a nice little rig there at his cottage. And so I just did an overnight there. So I was staying in his camper van, and it was dark, you know, late at night. And after drinking 75 coffees, like, you know what? I should go use the facilities. So instead of stumbling around in the dark to find the outhouse, I was like, you know what? This bush looks like it could use a little bit of moisture. So I'm sitting there doing it, and look up and just thinking, man, it would be so neat to see a shooting star right now. And boom, saw a nice, beautiful one. It's like, So it's sort of like, I don't always look up at the sky expecting to see a shooting star, but I was literally thinking a shooting star right now would be really cool. And bang, there it was. Like, just, you're looking up at a portion of the sky, because the sky is big and there's trees all around. So I could see maybe, I don't know, if I looked up, I could see maybe a quarter of the whole visible sky. And just in the area I was looking, there he was. You know, I saw, let's see, what are we doing here? So one of these days. So again, like what's master manifester? I'm a fester of some kind, yes. Speaking of festers, was it ever cold this morning? Like it's August, okay, late August, and the temperatures took a severe dip the last couple of nights. So I woke up and it was 6 degrees in real degrees, it was centigrade, but it was like 43 degrees fester, and or Frankfurters or whatever you measure your temperature in. And so I had my jammies on and a sweater, this sweater, plus I had to put a coat on top of that just to kind of be comfortable as I manifested my morning cigarette, so with coffee. But yeah, thank you for noticing that I've mastered festering. So that's about all I got. I mean, just stuff to think about. It's nothing overly profound, just stuff that I've been noticing. So noticing stuff is cool. And oh, here's Fester the cat himself. Oh, this one. Oh, he's always got his claws and his teeth out. This name him Ted Nugent because he's Mr. Tooth and Claw. I did not manifest this cat. I don't know where. He's always been too rough. He's trying to play, but he never learned how to play nice. It's always just too rough. He always goes for the fingers to start biting, and it's all a game, but hey, Fester, how about you go find something else to do, Fester? YouTube is not ready for you. No, just stay down. Down. That's it. And so yeah, that's the Monday night stream. I hope I delivered on my promised content, providing another show about nothing with a little bit of incoherent babble sprinkled in there, talking about somebody at the kitchen table, and then boom, they're knocking on the door. So yeah, that's, or they text you. Yeah, I had my Vietnamese lunch at Shoutout to phone number 1, or pho, in the Big Shitty. Oh, and he's one of those guys, either he's thinking about me or I'm thinking about him, and within like less than a day, usually within minutes sometimes, it's like, here's a text comes in from him. And so so he's kind of a master fester as well. So yeah, is that like some kind of collective consciousness, universal mind, or like how do you even go about exploring that? Like, because lots of people talk about it like they know what's going on, but I'm not convinced. I haven't heard convincing arguments on what's going on in that regard. Just sending out your vibrational energy, and then people resonate with that. But yeah, that doppelganger thing. Oh, so now he's on my laptop, just trying to hack into What's the Matter Use channel again. Why'd you do that? I have no idea what he just did. So let's try this. Oh my gosh. Well, I can see the chats here, but there's nothing for you up there, buddy. Yeah, okay, I don't need the chat. I can see the chat here. I'm not putting anything in the chat anyway, so I don't have any links to share today. But yeah, that's about where we're at out on the farm here. Just wanted to give you an update, and we'll see about doing some more lives this week. It's going to be a busy week. I was wanting to do a live last night, but I got home too late, and it's been a busy weekend, so didn't have a ton of energy to do much as far as YouTubing. But I think there will be some opportunities to either do some live wrenching with you guys this week, or even just more stuff. Well, I've got tons of theology books. I mean, prior to discovering the Christian faith, which I still adhere to, I grew up with books on the paranormal, and I was a big fan of the X-Files, and even dabbling in new agey type stuff. Like when I was driving truck back in the 90s, I would listen to Art Bell all night, Coast to Coast AM. So there were all kinds of interesting discussions there. So that kind of really shaped my early adult years, where I was not an atheist, but an agnostic. And really my journey in faith was, you know, I looked around, it's like, there's no way this just evolved from nothing. Like this, I remember it so clearly. I was driving home from America, and I just crossed the border. I had been to the duty-free store. So there's a long-winded answer to your question, Mr. Osgood. I had my carton of smokes. I had my 40-ounce bottle of whatever whiskey I was drinking at the time. I had the tunes going in the semi. It was a gloriously beautiful day. It was like late summer day. You know, the greens, the fields were green. It was a partly cloudy day, but it was those big puffy clouds that just went on forever. Then the sunbeams were shining in, like just a glorious day. And I had had a good trip and was on my way home. And like I said, back then a carton of smokes was less than $20 at the duty-free shop for the good cigarettes. I think that bottle of whiskey was something like $11. And I was looking to enjoy my time off, and I just was looking around, you know, little birds were flying around, and it's like, this is just too perfect, the way it all operates. You know, just, there must be a God to have this sense of artistry. Like this didn't just come from nothing. And so, you know, I didn't become a quote unquote Christian that day, but I kind of took a step away from that agnostic faith and was like, there has to be a God. Like this has to be the result of some intelligence, some creator, some creative force. Because, you know, evolution and the Big Bang, like, it lacks that creativity that we talk about in music, you know, the beauty. So evolution doesn't recognize beauty. And so it was probably through the next decade that my journey began, you know, from that acknowledgement that there is a God. And I kind of said a little prayer that day. And it went something like this. And it was the most humble prayer you'll ever hear. But it was sort of like, God, there's no way this just evolved. This is just too glorious. So if you are real, so putting conditions on God already, if you are real, I give you permission to reveal yourself to me. It's like, is that the most humble thing you've ever heard? And that was that. I went back to listening to my music and kind of enjoying my day. And it's sort of like God looked down and said, I'll take that. I'll take that. The declaration of faith. And so through the course of the next decade, I started getting exposed to more things that were revealing the nature and character and person of God. And so, yeah, I've got scads and scads and scads of books, mostly Christian, uh, and then things like the Nag Hammadi, uh, complementing the Bible. I was reading everything, if it had to do with the Christian religion, whether it was Lutheran, not so much Catholic, but Protestant, Pentecostal, Mennonite, like from all different faith backgrounds, some Orthodox, or not faith backgrounds, but different denominational thinkers, and just to get landscape of this Christian faith. And because I knew the New Age kind of doctrine, would you call it? But yeah, that journey kind of took me through churches, some good churches, some less than good churches, but all that was necessary for my growth to have the faith that I have today. And I think I explained before, like now I'm of the yes, I'm Gnostic. Just to see what Christian, early church fathers and that kind of stuff, contemplatives. Oh, one of the kitties has a critter in its mouth. Good job, buddy. He's got a little mole in her mouth. Nice. But sitting in those chairs in the church, and I had this cheater Bible. It had all the cross references in the margins. And the guy standing at the front, he would say stuff, and I'd be flipping through my Bibles, like, because if he was preaching on a New Testament passage, it would have the cross reference to the Old Testament and vice versa. It's a cross reference Bible. It was a very handy tool. It's like, he was saying stuff, it's like, that's completely out of, that's not what the Old Testament is saying about what you're preaching. It's like, this seems like a bunch of malarkey. I'm ready to stand up and call shenanigans, but I just kind of kept to myself. I was a baby believer, young Christian, but I could read fast, and look stuff up, and I could reference stuff. And so the things that I was taught from the pulpit, it's like I questioned everything. And some of it, evolved into discussions with more mature believers around me, for lack of a better word, brothers and sisters in Christ. We'd have interesting discussions, and it's like, you know what, that's not correct, or that's not accurate. It's not to be a know-it-all, but it's like you guys don't really believe that here, do you? So just over time, I evolved to the cowboy Christianity that I adhere to now, which is love God, love your neighbors, at least the ones that aren't trying to kill you, and be kind to animals. The I Ching and how it works. Haven't explored a lot of that Eastern faith. I was very fascinated by one Chinese Christian believer, which was Watchman Nee. Now, he's received a lot of criticism over the years, but he was living in the earlier part of the 20th century. And I found the Asian mind had a way of dissecting the doctrines of the faith in a way that was refreshing to my Western mind. So hearing the Eastern perspective was very interesting as well. So I really enjoyed Watchman Nee. I don't know how much value I put on it now. I kind of don't. I wouldn't encourage somebody to dive into that. Like, there's this concept in Christianity called discernment, and it's something that God helps you with. It's like the wisdom of God that illuminates your understanding of what's going on, and so some of the stuff that Watchman Nee would write about was, it's like, okay, interesting, but I gotta weigh this against the rest of what I know and what I feel God is really saying about what you're saying. So yeah, I'm not familiar with I Ching. Something I can probably explore if and when I finally get the time. Possession date's going to be September 15th. I got to figure out where I'm going from then. Whether I'm going to be camping out in the ditch somewhere or staying with somebody. But once I I kind of settle down from the sale of the house and that's all resolved, I'll have to get back into reading. Like I used to read voraciously, and that's not something I do anymore. Get out of here. Oh, Fester, come on. Claws right in, right in the leg. Oh. He thinks he's being loving, but no, I don't want those nasty claws anywhere near me. Or those fangs of yours. We'll find somebody else to bother. Oh, I'm gonna have to cut this live stream off on account of cat. But yeah, I need to pick up reading. I found with YouTube, I can get a lot of perspectives, like just information wise, in a short amount of time. Because if you could listen at 2x speed or whatever, you can condense time frames. And I would read pretty fast, but I used to read like 20 different books at once, a snippet here, put it down, read a bit from another book. And so I always had a coffee table full of books. They were all getting digested in little bits and pieces. The electric Kool-Aid acid test. Heard of it, don't know anything about it. Again, I don't even know how I'd begin to look at that. Find a YouTube video, get some background on it. So I definitely can't speak to that. What that even is, so you'll have to help me out with that. It explains synchronicity. Okay. Does it do a good job? That's what I want to know. The Kool-Aid acid test. I mean, it sounds a little sketch, but I can explore that. Is that something they did in school or what? The Kool-Aid acid test, or like, I know nothing about that. It sounds like something that would have come out in the 70s. And so I'm not passing judgment on it at all. I literally know nothing about it. So, but a lot of the content creators that are talking about this stuff, whether it's Mandela effect, there's explanations out there, and it's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, whether it has to do with a collective consciousness or. And there was a very interesting video I saw the other day, how the Schumann resonance of the planet has changed over time, and it was actually a Mandela effect video. I'm not going to look up the link, but the premise was that our timeline changed in 1988, and it had to do with certain changes that were going on globally, geopolitically. The fall of the Soviet Empire. Tom Wolfe, same guy who wrote The Right Stuff. Okay, is it fiction or nonfiction, or what is that? But it seems like, okay, the Schumann resonance is just the natural resonance of the Earth's atmosphere, nonfiction. Okay. And just the vibration, the background vibrational frequency, which is measurable, of the planet. through magnetic influences and motion and all that stuff, gravity, and whatever gravity is. But it's been increasing. It was somewhere around 4 or 5 hertz, through the mid 20th century, but over time, and it took a little jump in the mid to late 80s to somewhere around 8 hertz, and it's something like your biochemistry, your whole physiology is tuned into that, and as it changes, it's only ever been increasing. And now I didn't confirm this. I think this is something I just looked at the other day, like within the last 48 hours. I forget when I saw this. It's very interesting. But this guy had this theory of like what's going on with that Mandela effect, and it's sort of like there's people that remember stuff back in the old day, and then it's like there was a hard reset vibrationally, and it's like the coding of human understanding was altered. It's like a patch was installed or a new operating system. And people that are experiencing the Mandela effect, the way he explained it's like us old timers, we're still running on the legacy code and we haven't adapted to the new code. So we remember stuff that is different, or things are different now than the way we remember it. Because there's been this fundamental shift. Now, he was getting fairly technical. I wasn't following terribly closely, but he was remarking that the Schumann resonance at peaks is measured at somewhere around 30 hertz in places at times. Not constantly, but it's like the average Schumann resonance has increased. Again, I didn't confirm this. I'm just saying what he said. So I found that a reasonable explanation as to what, as an explanatory narrative of what's going on. But was it convincing? It's like, okay, I need to look into this more. Okay, here's Pepper. He keeps his claws down. You guys know Pepper. So yeah, it's just I'm a seeker for truth, knowledge, and wisdom, and I found that to be a good leaping off point to see what some of these narratives contain. I'm not sitting here claiming I know anything, but yeah, you got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Matrix. Yeah, in the mid 80s, early 90s, you had all these movies coming out that were questioning reality as we understood it. And The Matrix was one example he used. I forget some of the other ones, but there was like it's like Hollywood was either sharing the secret, or it's not necessarily the movie studios, but the directors and producers and writers. It's like they were searching for an explanation as well as to what seems to be going on, because things are not the way they were. What was that one? Yeah, the Truman Show was another example. So it's I wouldn't call it propaganda, but it was sort of people exploring that question. It's like, what is really going on? Because something, I guess the premise was, when you talk to people that remember the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, they remember life was different. Like, it's like time was different. The passage of time, the experiencing of time. And now it's like, if you're running that legacy software on some of this vintage hardware that we got, reality just seems to not line up with the way we remember it. I'm not even explaining it well. It's Incoherent Babble. It's right in the title of the live stream. This is Incoherence. That's what we do. That's what I do. And so yeah, yeah. I don't. Maybe if I can find it, I'll put it in the comments of this video. I'm not looking it up right now, unless I still have it up here. I don't know what I do. Let's see what that cat did to my computer. I don't think I'm gonna find it. Oh, maybe. Let's see. Let's see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. What was it called? It might have been on my other laptop, but it should still be here. No, maybe not. No, it wasn't that many days ago. Yeah, that's. No, it could have been on my old laptop that I was looking at. The acid test ties together Grateful Dead, Timothy Leary, Ken Kersey. The list goes on. Yeah, I mean, there was another video I was watching about MK Ultra and some other stuff that are implicated with some of these figures you've mentioned. I'm not saying that's the case, but just a lot of Tavistock. There was something I was watching on Tavistock. If you don't know about Tavistock, that's an interesting rabbit hole. I wonder. No, I'm not going to find it on this computer. So what are we doing here? Okay, how do we end up here? Let's just do this. Let's go to get the live stream back up. Somehow I can't figure out how to shut my live stream down. We're still live, right? Oh, has it been over an hour? My goodness. Casey also toured on the bus with Neil Cassidy, made famous by Jack Kerouac of the Beat Poet fame. His books attempt to echo his work. I've heard the name Kerouac. Don't know Casey and Cassidy. Are those Grateful Dead dudes? That's another music rabbit hole I have yet to have the guts to go down, because I don't have the time to listen to the vinyl I've been finding currently. So if I start loading up on Grateful Dead, my goodness, I'll have to become a full-time music listener guy. So yeah, you guys, if you know, you know, right? So So some of the stuff I'm not. Ken Casey. Oh, okay. You're referring to Casey. Neil Cassidy. Anybody? Anybody? Who's Neil Cassidy? Waiting. That's all good. We'll tune into Dad's live stream and he'll tell us all about Neil Cassidy. But I think that's it. I think my animals are getting restless. They want something to eat. I'm out of coffee, so I need to make another pot. So we'll call it an evening, right? Yeah? Sound good? So I'll give you a heads up when we, the Stones, Dylan, and the Beatles like to hang out with the Beats, take over the Beatnik era. Yeah, so like all those names, I've heard them connected to various conspiracy theories. I do find it so funny that these countercultural icons, the Stones, the Beatles, they're all knights of the British Empire now. Read On the Road by Jack Kerouac to find about casting. Okay, again, I'll have to go find a bookstore. I don't think I'm going to find out my local thrift store. It's all Mennonite books at our local bookstore here, so they won't have that. But I'll search that out in my travels. But yeah, let's call that a Monday night. All done. We'll check in again sometime this week. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Possibly even tomorrow. No promises. No guarantees, no warranties, stated or implied. That's always been the policy here. And so thank you for coming. Like, share, subscribe, donate, start your own channels, do your own live streams. You can do it, guys. Books by Burroughs, Kerouac, Ginseng, or banned. Well, I'm sure the interwebs have some access. Might have to go into the dark web if they're that nasty. But you never know. So I could always put my post office box out there. Send me your hard copies of Jack Kerouac and Burroughs and Ginseng. But there we have it. I think I delivered. That was a lot of incoherent babble. I hope it wasn't too much for you all to digest. But for reals, I'm going to end this one. Bill Burroughs. Shout out to Bill Burroughs. Shout out to The Naked Lunch. Shout out to Incoherent Babble. So that's another one. I'll catch you next time, folks. Love you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.